Finally got away from Puerto Princesa. It's taken a while. We've had a few repairs to do there and a few hold-ups, and even this morning when I was coming out, we picked the anchor up and motoring out, and then the cooling water stopped coming out of the engine, so I stopped, re-anchored, and then I disconnected the hose from the raw water inlet and cleaned that out. Then we started again, and then I noticed some white smoke coming from the engine, and when I went below 2,000 revs it seemed to disappear, and when I went higher it started billowing out. So I went out the harbour with 2,000 revs and got a mile or so offshore and shut the engine down. It looks like, I'm hoping it could be the fuel filter that was clogged. I took the filter out and it didn't look too bad at all. There was nothing I could see in it, just a little bit of staining on it. So I put a new filter in and see how that goes next time I start the engine. Hopefully that'll fix the problem. Yeah, so we're about 8 miles away from Puerto Princesa now, and we've just got a little bit of breeze coming in. We've been sailing between 1 and 2 knots, just enough to keep the wind vane steering. So Mickey is steering at the moment, and we're probably doing about 1.5 knots at the moment. There's not much wind. It's forecast to last till about 5 o'clock and then die off overnight, come back in the morning maybe, so it could be a quiet night just floating around. But it's good to be away. I mean, this beautiful clear water. I've not seen that for about 3 months, which is great. And with this little bit of breeze across the deck, it's nice and cool. Well, it's still hot, but it's a cooling breeze, that's what I want to say. Yeah, so this is the weather I downloaded yesterday. So here we are this morning. We're coming from Puerto Princesa in here, and we're going across to Bonbonon, which is just over there. And this is the Sulu Sea. So we're hanging around just here somewhere at the moment. Says we got 4 knots, but we don't actually have anything at all. And then as we move along through tonight and then till tomorrow morning, we've still got purple patch, which means no wind at all, or variable. And then the next day, the 14th in the morning, we've got a little bit of wind showing coming from here. So I'm trying to get north so I can take advantage of this wind to come down to Bonbonon. And then the next day you can see there's nothing at all, very light. So where we will be by then I don't know, maybe still over here, I don't know. And then the next morning we've got a little bit more wind coming down from the north over here, which is going to be good. I'm looking forward to that if we can get over there, and that then increases a little bit and then dies away. Then the next morning is absolutely nothing over here. So we'll just have to see how we go. I don't know. It's going to be a slow trip, I think, but as long as the sea's calm like this and there's no flapping of the sails and slatting, it's pretty good. So, got plenty of food on board, plenty of beer, plenty of coffee, should be fine. Whoa, that's quite a workout. It'll take me about an hour, but finally got the spinnaker flying, big red. I'm not using it as a spinnaker with a pole, I'm just trying to use it more like an asymmetrical. I don't want to be messing around with the pole. It's too much trouble, too much work and too much stuff to go wrong. I would really love an asymmetrical sail, but I'm trying to make do with this at the moment. So got very light winds. We were doing about 0.4 of a knot, 0.5 of a knot, but now we're up to 1.2, 1.3, which is good. You can see there's not much activity on the flag. But the spinnaker's pulling us along a little bit, so that's good. So 1.2 knots, 1.3 knots, 200 miles to go. Could be a long trip. Oh, here comes the sun. This is our third day out of Puerto Princesa, and we had an unbelievable night of absolutely flat calm. There's just a few little ripples now as the sun comes up, and hopefully we're going to get some breeze now, but the whole night has been like a mill pond. Unbelievable. Sails just hanging like washing on the line. This is the start of our third day out of Puerto Princesa. Yesterday we made noon to noon 25 miles. Today I think we're going to be negative miles noon to noon. I think we're going backwards. We had a little bit of wind yesterday afternoon, and luckily we got the spinnaker up and it was pulling okay, and at one stage we had 1.5 knots. We never saw 2 knots. 1.5 was about the maximum, and that lasted for a couple of hours. And then as the sun went down last night, the wind went, and it's been absolutely glassy calm all night. It's been an absolutely wonderful night. One of those few nights that sailors rarely get to see. We had some moon until about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then the moon went down. It was a glassy calm, and it's one of those situations where it's almost like being inside a snow globe. The stars are out and they're reflecting in the water, but you can't see where the horizon stops or where the sky stops, so it's just like one continuous ball of sparkles and stars twinkling, reflecting on the sea. It's absolutely beautiful. It's lovely. I've only seen it a few times in my life, a couple of times when I've been sailing, mostly on big ships, maybe 5-6 times in my life, and that's about all I've seen it. But it's lovely when it happens. Makes you realize how small you are. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen today. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning now, and it's still flat calm. There's no wind at all, but as we know, no condition is permanent, so sometimes you have to go back a little bit before you can go forward, but everything else is fine. No problem at all. We've got solar coming in, the fridge is on again. I switched it off last night to save a little bit of power. Yeah, it'd be nice to get a little bit of speed so I can do some fishing. I fancy getting some fresh fish. Apart from that, it's just situation normal, floating around. So, as Freddie said, I want to break free. Maybe today is the day we break free. We'll just be patient. Good morning. This is our 4th day out of Puerto Princesa, and unbelievably there is no wind. This is the 4th day with no wind. It's quite unbelievable. I would sort of expect 2 or 3 days maximum with no wind, but last night we were just floating around on a glassy sea. We didn't make any headway at all yesterday. In fact, we've lost about 12 miles. We've got a current pushing us to the south between half a knot and 1 knot, and what little bit of sailing we managed to do in the puffs, occasional puffs, couldn't hold us up against the current. It's quite hard to fight a 1 knot current. You're losing 24 miles a day, and when there's no wind it's almost impossible to make that up. So this is the outlook this morning. All glassy again. The only difference today is that we've got some clouds and The previous days we've had no clouds at all. It's been nice clear sky with the occasional Springfield cloud. Sun's just starting to rise over there. It's been a bit hazy last night as well. So hopefully that means the weather's changing and we're going to get some wind today. We're actually only 25 miles off land now. The currents pushed us back towards land, so we're only 25 miles off. And if we're going to get more of this, I might just head into land and find an anchorage for a night. Yeah, it's very frustrating. I say 1 or 2, 3 days, okay, we can manage that, but now we're getting into a situation where we seem to have found the only hole in the world with no wind. Yeah, so I think I'll have fried eggs for breakfast this morning and a nice cup of coffee, and hopefully these clouds are going to bring a change in the weather and we'll get some wind to drive us where we want to go. Patience. Just got to be patient. Just got to be patient. Good things will happen. Just got to be patient. We will get there. Well, it's day 5 out of Puerto Princesa, and this time we are going to Bonbonon across the Sulu Sea. So we failed again yesterday. The current just took us south and we were becalmed. So last night I sailed north of Puerto Princesa up the coast and got some internet, and early hours of this morning actually we got some internet and downloaded a weather forecast, contacted the folks back home. I was quite keen to get the weather forecast because I knew there was a tropical revolving storm heading towards Philippines, and I wasn't sure whether it was going north or east or what was happening, so just wanted to check on that before I committed to going across today. But yeah, we're on the way. There's not much wind. It's about 4 or 5 knots. We're doing a couple of knots. We're doing 1.5, 2 knots all morning, and just sort of picking up a bit now. So it's going to be a 3-day trip, I think, to get across. Yeah, sailing okay, everything's good. I tried to do a little bit of fishing earlier on, and I gave up. Every 10 minutes I was having to pull the line in and clear plastic and weed and debris from it, so I gave up in the end. And then I found that when I went to change over the water tanks, there was water in the bilge, and a quick taste showed it was salt water. So I had to figure out where that was coming from. But I had washed down the around the stern of the boat this morning because we had a bird perched on board last night and he shit all over the place and made a hell of a mess. So I figured it was a salt water wash down hose was a culprit. And then I found one of the fittings had broken, just one of the screw fittings had split, and luckily I had a spare fitting on board, so I was able to repair it. But it's really annoying, you know, there's stuff on boats. If you've got something in your house, you get a $2 fitting, you stick it in, and then you forget about it for the next 20 years. On a boat, you get a fitting, costs you $20, and then 2 years later it's split. Which doesn't make sense, really. Anyway, I fixed that, but the salt water went down into the bilge and it cascaded down across the electrical panel. So I got to clear that up when I get into port and get to anchor and get all the salt off it, maybe disconnect everything, clean it and put some soft seal on it. And then later on this afternoon I noticed one of my solar panels wasn't charging. So I got the multimeter out and the voltage was going into the what do you call it, the regulator, through the buzz bar and everything, and I tried changing fuses, I changed controllers, I did all kinds of stuff, and I couldn't figure out what was going on because it was showing voltage, but there was no amps coming through. So I eventually just chopped the wires at the connection and then joined them together, and bingo, we had amps flowing. So it was the actual solar connectors, and those horrible solar connectors, I had a problem with those before, and they just don't stand up to the weather. They might be okay for an RV, but long term on a boat they're just pretty useless. Yeah, so we're sailing along, all good. We've got Mickey steering, he's been steering all day, doesn't say much, just gets on with it. Hopefully we're going to have a nice night tonight. It's pretty quiet, there's no sea running, so it's just like a very soft magic carpet ride, and we'll see what happens overnight and give you an update tomorrow. Well, here we are, day 6 of our odyssey across the Sulu Sea. We got some wind last night, around about midnight, and good wind, about 8 knots I guess, 6 knots, 8 knots, but I don't know what happened to the sea. It was really lumpy. It was like hitting a brick wall every 2 seconds. It was quite uncomfortable. We weren't doing very much speed. I think we averaged 2.6 knots until midday. At the midday today we picked up a little bit, and we were doing good speed, and now the sun's going to set in about an hour's time and the wind's starting to drop off again, and the forecast says that tomorrow after midnight we're going to get some calm patches again, which I really wasn't looking forward to, hoping to get this wind all the way to Bonbonon, but it looks like we're going to get some calm, but who knows, the forecast's a couple of days old now, so it could pick up again, it could go calm, we don't know, just have to wait and see. Yeah, so we're just keeping on. We've slowed down now, and I think we're doing, yeah, we're down to 3 knots now. Yeah, it seems as usual that when the sun goes down the wind goes down as well, so we may have a quiet night, just jiggling around. Hopefully the sea state dies down a bit, it's been a bit lumpy. I don't want to be rolling around with no wind. Then we'll just have to see what happens tomorrow. If it's calm again, then we just have to make the most of it. We need to get to the coast before the easterly wind comes in, which is a couple of days forecast to be quite strong from the east. So we need to get to the coast and find an anchorage before then. But at the moment it's just, the trip is never ending, keeps on going. Another day in the Odyssey. Whoa, it's brutally hot. It's very, very hot. Anyway, about 2 o'clock this morning the wind started to die. We were just ghosting along around about 3 knots, 3.5 knots when it was good, and then the wind died, swung around 90 degrees and then just disappeared. I waited for it to come back, but nothing was happening, and we passed an island, and we were lucky we picked up some internet signal. I managed to download another weather forecast, and that's pretty dire. It's just calm. So I decided we had to get to land on this side before the easterly comes in later tomorrow. 4 o'clock this morning, put the engine on, and it's been on all day long. It's nice and warm inside the boat, and noisy and horrible. We should get to the anchorage, not Bonbonon, I'm just going up the coast a little bit, which is closer, and we should get to the anchorage and be anchored at 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, which is good. Looking forward to that, and probably spend a day at the anchorage there, get some sleep, and then if the weather's good, move around to Bonbonon. It's about 50 miles down the coast or something, not so far. Yeah, but this easterly weather looks like it's set to last for at least a week. Very, very strong winds. Of course, it's coming through all the channels through the islands, and it funnels through the channels quite strong. And I think it's all associated with all these tropical storms they've been having. I was just reading last night that they've had 5 or 6 in the last month, which is, they say it's unprecedented, but I don't know if it is or not, but it seems a hell of a lot to have 6 typhoons in a month. It's pretty crazy. And the people up north in the Philippines are really struggling apparently. I think if I lived up there I'd want some sort of windproof igloo or something. Yeah, so nothing much to report, it's just hot, noisy. We have to get to the other side. We were there at 2 o'clock in the morning, should be all snug down at anchor, and I'll give you an update then. Good morning! Another day on the good ship Lollipop. Well, we got into the anchorage after a very slow sail across and lots of motoring. I got in there 2 o'clock in the morning, anchored, and I was going to set off the next day down to Bonbonon, but I was quite tired, so I had a little bit of a sleep, and in the morning I just couldn't be bothered to go anywhere, and I had a few little chores to do. So had a nice leisurely breakfast, and we stayed at anchor all day. It was a lovely little bay to anchor in. It was nice. I didn't go ashore. Yeah, did some just caught up with some housekeeping and some emails and stuff like that. So had a nice relaxing day. Then this morning we picked up the anchor about 5:30, 6 o'clock. We got away from the anchorage, and we're just motor sailing down the coast now to Bonbonon. It's a little bit of breeze, so I'm just motor sailing, but in an hour it's supposed to be going calm when we get in the lee of the land, so the land is just down there. And we have to go around that point, and then it's another few miles against the wind, against the tide, into Bonbonon. So we should be down there this afternoon around about maybe 4 o'clock. Got a little bit of wind coming in and a little bit of rain off the land over there. It's looking a bit dark, but that should clear up in an hour or so, I hope. And that's where we've come from up there. Yeah, so looking forward to getting down to Bonbonon, getting anchored. Looks like the wind's going to be against us now for the next few days, so I may stay in Bonbonon for a few days. I don't know yet. I need to buy some filters for the engine. I had a couple of filters clog up. I think we've got some dirt in the fuel, and I've only got 3 spares left. Looks like we're going to get a bit of rain. I'm just going to have some breakfast now and come back out when it's nice and sunny, I hope. So, a quick update. We didn't make Bonbonon. We got so close. We got 6 miles away, and we were heading into some strong headwinds against, we're also against quite a strong current as well. Speed was down to about 1 knot, and I was giving the engine some beans to try and get some progress so we could get into Bonbonon in the channel before the sun went down. And then the revs started dropping on the engine, and some smoke started coming out the exhaust, so I eased off a little bit for a while and then gave her a bit more, and Yeah, then there's some black shit coming out, or browny black shit coming out the exhaust onto the water. I don't know what that was. Everything happened quite quickly. So I reduced the revs and had a look around. I couldn't see anything obvious, nothing leaking, nothing disconnected. There's some oil, lube oil's been forced out of the filler cap on the rocker cover. I don't know why. The engine runs fine at idle, no problem at all. As soon as you give it some revs, then things start to go wrong. So I decided to stop and regroup a little bit, and then I decided that there wasn't much on offer really. I could maybe get a fisherman to tow me into Bonbonon. But once there's not an awful lot of support in that place. So I've decided to turn around and head back to Puerto Princesa. That's about 3 days away. And of course the way, the way of the world. The wind has dropped. We had a beautiful wind against us, which would be perfect for going back to Puerto Princesa, but that's disappeared at the moment. But I think it will come back. So at the moment we're just bobbing around a little bit. I'm not putting the mainsail up yet. No wind to catch at the moment. It's just going to flog around. The headsail is just flogging around. And we're just bibbling around. The sea's calming off a bit now. It was very mixed up. Now it's calming off, and I expect the wind is going to come back in the next hour or so, and then we can be on our way again back to Puerto Princesa. So I'm trying to find some positives out of this. It's pretty hard at the moment, but as we all know, everything happens for a reason. I'm not quite sure what this reason is, but I don't know. Just head scratching at the moment. Unfortunately, this is putting us back even further back on our schedule for going down the Papua New Guinea Solomon Islands. Yeah, but we won't really know what we're doing until we figure out what's wrong with the engine. So let's get back, figure that one out first. We get to see another sunrise. It's beautiful. Just popped out from behind the clouds. Lovely. It's been quite a windy night overnight, 15 to 20 knots, probably on the higher end of that most of the time. And we've had some quite large dark clouds coming over as well. They weren't squall clouds, but they were had wind in them. So I was quite glad I put the third reef in the main before it got dark last night. So we've been sailing all night with the third reef in the main, and yeah, I was glad I did in those stronger winds. Now I can see what's going on. I'll take one of the reefs out anyway, and just have a cup of coffee first. Yeah, so we should, at this speed, we should be in Puerto Princesa late this evening. So that goes to plan. That would have been a good trip back across, 2.5 day trip, which is pretty good. Yeah, it's turning out to be a lovely day for some boating. We've got truce dialed in now. We've got about 15 knots of wind, sometimes gusting a little bit more, I think. We've got full Yankee staysail, and we're doing 7 knots at the moment, so it's just perfect. We've got another 60 miles to go to the fairway, Puerto Princesa, so we'll be up there around about midnight tonight. But it's beautiful sailing, it's lovely, it's really nice. I'm really enjoying it. A bit of a reward for all the hard times we've had just recently. Yeah, so we just hope it keeps on now for another 5 or 6 hours. Be fantastic. Get us up to the anchorage and drop the hook, and I'm really looking forward to having a good sleep and then going ashore and having some decent food. The cook on board, absolutely lousy. Useless. Waste of space.